Speak less, work hard. The discipline of quiet action. Silence makes you strong. You've been told all your life to use your words. Speak up. Share your feelings. Defend yourself. And maybe for a while you believed it. You thought the man with the most to say would be the one who wins. But time has a way of showing you the truth. The loud ones get noticed, but the quiet ones get remembered. A man who can hold his tongue commands a different kind of power. When you speak less, people lean in. When you act more, people follow. This is not about being shy or timid. This is about controlling the urge to prove yourself with noise. You're not here to argue with every fool or explain your every move. You're here to live in a way that makes your results speak for you. Think about Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, leader of legions, master of himself. His journal, Meditations, wasn't written for the world. It was a conversation with himself in silence. And yet, that silence has outlived every speech ever given in the Senate. Noise is easy. Action is rare. The man who chooses action over noise walks into every room with an invisible weight. You can feel it. Others can too. Ask yourself, how many hours, how many days have you wasted explaining what you'll do instead of doing it? How many dreams have you talked about so much that you killed them before they even started breathing? There's a reason soldiers march in silence. A reason wolves hunt without warning. Noise gives away position. Noise gives away intention. The next time you feel that familiar urge to announce your plans, stop. Breathe. Let the moment pass. And then work. Because here's the truth most men never learn. A man's silence is not emptiness. It's a loaded weapon. Men waste years waiting for the perfect time. They convince themselves they'll start when they have more money, more skill, more confidence. They call it being prepared. It's not preparation. It's fear dressed up in respectable clothing. I'll tell you something you may not want to hear. You will never feel ready. Not for the first step, not for the leap, not for the moment that matters most. Hernan Cortez wasn't ready when he landed in the New World with a few hundred men and burned his own ships. Alexander wasn't ready when he crossed into Asia at 22 with an army that had never seen the lands ahead. They didn't wait for readiness. They acted. And in acting, they became ready. The mind plays tricks on you. It whispers that one more month, one more year, will make you stronger. But time has never made a man braver. Only movement does. You think courage is the absence of fear. It isn't. Courage is dragging fear along for the ride and moving forward anyway. Fear will always be a passenger. The choice is whether you let it take the wheel. There's a quiet man somewhere in the world right now who is building. While you're waiting for the right time, he's taking imperfect swings at his goal. He misses. He adjusts. He tries again. And while you're still planning, he's already arrived. Life won't tap you on the shoulder and say, "All right, you're ready now. You can begin." No one is coming to grant you permission. The starting gun is in your own hand. Here's the law. Readiness comes through doing, never before. You become the man you want to be by acting like him now, not by waiting to feel like him first. So stop asking, "Am I ready?" Start asking, "What's my next step?" Then take it. Not tomorrow. Not when you've worked up to it. Now. A stationary man is easy to control by his fears, by other people, by the endless chatter of his own mind. But once a man is moving, everything changes. There's a law most people misunderstand. They think motivation comes first, and then action follows. It's the other way around. Action creates motivation. It's like pushing a heavy cart. The first shove is hard. The wheels resist, your muscles strain. But once it's rolling, it almost moves itself. That's momentum. Leonardo da Vinci didn't wait for inspiration to strike before painting. He worked every day, even on the days his brush felt heavy. The work produced the inspiration, not the other way around. The same is true for you. If you sit and wait for that perfect rush of motivation, you will be sitting forever. You have to prime the pump. One small action today, however unimpressive, is worth more than 1,000 perfect plans for tomorrow. Think about the mornings you didn't feel like training, but you showed up anyway. At first, you moved like you were underwater. But halfway through, something shifted. Energy appeared out of nowhere. That's not magic. That's physics. Objects in motion stay in motion. And momentum is not just physical. It's psychological. Every small win tells your mind, I can do this. And that belief compounds until you're doing things that used to paralyze you. The problem is, most men quit before the wheels start turning. They give up in the first minutes, when resistance is highest. They don't know they were seconds away from breaking through. So here's your task. Commit to moving every day, even when it feels pointless. Trust that movement itself will create the fuel you need. Remember, you don't wait for fire to get warm. You strike the match. Fear is a shadow. It looks solid when it's in front of you, but when you reach for it, there's nothing there. Most men spend their lives obeying shadows. They avoid the conversation, the leap, the challenge, because they think fear is a sign to stop. In truth, fear is almost always a sign you're facing the right direction. Look at Ernest Shackleton, the Antarctic explorer. In 1915, his ship Endurance was trapped and crushed by ice. Thousands of miles from safety, in the deadliest environment on Earth. Fear was a constant companion. But he didn't freeze, he acted. He made brutal decisions, navigated open seas in a lifeboat, and kept every single man alive. He didn't wait for the fear to leave. He carried it with him and kept moving. Fear will always speak. It will tell you you're not ready, that you'll fail, that it's better to stay comfortable. But fear is a terrible prophet. It predicts disaster where there is none. The mind's job is to protect you from pain, so it creates alarms at every edge of the unknown. But most of these alarms are false. And if you obey them long enough, you start living inside a prison made of your own hesitation. When you step into fear, something strange happens. It shrinks. What looked like a towering wall becomes a low fence you can step over. And you wonder why you ever believed it was real. You'll never eliminate fear, nor should you. It keeps you sharp, alert. But you must refuse to be ruled by it. Next time you feel it, don't run. Pause. Acknowledge it. And then step forward while it's still screaming. Because here's the truth. Fear is loudest right before it breaks. A man without discipline is like a ship without a keel. He may look fine in calm water, but the first storm will roll him over. Discipline is not about punishment. It's about structure. It's the spine that lets you stand tall when the weight of life pushes down. People romanticize freedom. They think freedom means doing whatever they want, whenever they want. But without discipline, that so-called freedom turns into slavery, to impulses, to laziness, to moods. Marcus Aurelius woke before dawn to write his thoughts and steal his mind. Miyamoto Musashi, the legendary samurai, trained with a sword every day, long after he was already unbeatable. Not because they needed to get ready for something specific, but because they knew Discipline is the preparation for every battle you don't see coming. You won't always feel motivated. You won't always feel confident. But discipline will carry you when motivation dies. Discipline says, I don't care if you feel like it or not, you show up. And each time you obey that command, you add another brick to the fortress of your mind. Start small, but be ruthless with yourself. If you say you'll train, train. If you say you'll read, read. If you say you'll work on your craft, work. Don't negotiate with yourself. The second you start debating, you've already lost. Discipline doesn't make life colder or harsher. It makes it steadier. It removes chaos and replaces it with a quiet certainty. You can count on yourself. And when a man can count on himself, the world starts counting on him, too. Presence is not about being loud or flashy. It's not about commanding attention with words or gestures. Presence is the quiet, unshakable energy that fills a room without a sound. You've met men who don't say much, but when they enter, the conversation shifts. Eyes turn toward them. A pause falls over the group. That's presence. It's the product of a man who's grounded, who isn't scattered in thought or emotion, who's fully here, fully aware. Presence is built in the daily work of mastering your mind and your emotions. It's discipline applied inward. It's the stillness beneath the storm. A man with presence doesn't need to prove himself. He doesn't feel the urge to fill silence with noise. He lets his being do the talking. How do you build presence? By becoming so comfortable in your own skin that you don't need approval. By learning to listen more than you speak. By training your mind to return to the moment, again and again, whenever it drifts. The world is full of distractions screaming for your attention. A man with presence chooses what to hear and what to ignore. Presence commands respect because it's a form of power that can't be taken away. No matter the chaos outside, a man who owns his presence is a rock. Think of Theodore Roosevelt, known for his booming voice and relentless energy. But what made men follow him was not just his words, it was the force of his presence. You don't have to be cold to be detached. Emotional detachment isn't about shutting off your feelings. It's about choosing which feelings control you and which ones you control. Too many men live like puppets on strings, pulled by every insult, every setback, every slight. Their emotions dictate their actions, and they mistake reaction for strength. Real strength lies in the space between feeling and action. In that pause, you find your power. Imagine a boxer in the ring. If he lets anger take over, he loses focus. But if he acknowledges the anger, then steps back to choose his response, he stays in control. Emotional detachment is the discipline of the inner world. It's seeing your feelings clearly, without judgment, without panic. It's feeling deeply, but never being overwhelmed. The great Stoics understood this well. Seneca said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Your mind can spin endless stories of defeat and despair, but you don't have to live in those stories. You have the choice to step out of the emotional storm and stand steady. This doesn't mean suppressing your pain or hiding your struggles. It means owning them without letting them break you. The path to mastery is paved with emotional honesty, paired with emotional control. Indifference. That word sounds cold, doesn't it? But it's one of the most powerful tools a man can master. Indifference isn't about apathy or carelessness. It's about choosing what deserves your energy and what doesn't. There are endless distractions pulling at you every day. Opinions, dramas, failures. Distractions disguised as urgencies. The indifferent man doesn't waste time fighting every battle. He picks his fights. The great Greek philosopher Epictetus taught that we should concern ourselves only with what is within our control. Everything else, let it go. Indifference is a shield against the chaos of the world. It's the ability to walk through storms without letting the rain soak your soul. Imagine a lion in the wild. It doesn't chase every squirrel or bark at every noise. It focuses on the prey that matters. You can't control the noise around you, but you can control your attention. The moment you stop caring about things that don't matter, you free up energy for what does. This is the art of saying no without apology. It's the courage to ignore the endless pull of distraction and stay true to your path. In a world desperate for your reaction, indifference is a radical act of power. Masculinity is not about aggression or dominance. It is about discipline, responsibility, and resilience, the unshakable foundation that holds a man steady through life storms. A man's strength is measured not by how loud he is, but by how deeply he endures, by how consistently he shows up, even when the world wants to break him. Discipline is the tool that sharpens masculinity. It molds impulse into purpose, chaos into order. Think of Theodore Roosevelt. Rough, relentless, a man who faced illness, political attacks, and personal loss with an iron will. He didn't collapse under pressure because he built a fortress inside himself, made of habits, routines, and unbreakable commitments. The true masculine heart is not soft nor cruel. It is steady. It is the calm in the eye of the hurricane. Resilience is not something you're born with. It's something you grow, day by day, choice by choice. When you choose discipline over comfort, you build resilience. When you face hardship without running, you build resilience. When you keep your word to yourself, you build resilience. And resilience is the currency of all men who lead. Doubt is the companion of every man who aims high. No man steps into greatness without wrestling with uncertainty. But spiritual maturity is not the absence of doubt. It's the courage to act despite doubt. A boy hesitates, looks for certainty before moving. A man takes the next step, knowing the path won't be clear. It's easy to wait for the fog to clear, but the road is often covered in mist. You don't walk because you see the end. You walk to the end. The Buddha taught that suffering arises from attachment and resistance. When you accept doubt as part of the journey, you release resistance. You move forward with grace. Look at the great explorers and pioneers. They never had perfect maps. They moved into the unknown with faith in themselves and their purpose. Spiritual maturity is quiet. It does not shout or demand. It knows the battle is inside before it is outside. Your doubts don't disqualify you. They are the soil where your courage grows. Step forward with them. Hold your uncertainty in one hand and your commitment in the other. Waiting until you're ready is the oldest lie whispered into the ears of men. You think, I'll start when I'm smarter, when I have more time, when I feel less afraid. But that moment doesn't exist. It's a mirage on the horizon, always moving further away. Look back at the lives of men who changed history. None of them announced readiness. They simply decided to begin. Take Genghis Khan, a tribal outcast, who became one of the most feared leaders in history. He never waited to be ready. He took what he wanted and learned on the way. You might think readiness is a shield, but it's actually a cage. The moment you wait, you hand your power to tomorrow. Tomorrow may never come. Do something today, imperfect, small, messy. Move toward your goal with the tools you have now. Because here's the truth you need to hear. You become ready by being in the arena, not by sitting on the sidelines. So stop waiting. Start now. Respect is often mistaken for loudness, bluster, or dominance. But the deepest respect is earned quietly. It comes from inner strength, the kind that doesn't seek approval but demands it anyway. A man who yells for respect rarely gets it. A man who stands firm in his convictions, who remains calm under pressure, who carries himself with humility and confidence. He commands respect without a single word. Look at King Leonidas at Thermopylae. His power was not in boasting or threats, but in his unwavering resolve. His soldiers followed him because he embodied strength, quiet, resolute, unbreakable. Inner strength is forged in silence, in the choices you make when no one's watching. It's the refusal to be shaken by criticism, fear, or failure. When you cultivate this strength, people feel it. It resonates. They trust you. How do you build it? By doing the hard things without complaint. By accepting responsibility even when it's uncomfortable. By being the calm in the chaos. Remember, respect is a shadow cast by the man who stands still when others are moving to flee. Momentum isn't just about physical movement or work. It shapes your relationships, your mindset, and your whole life. When you consistently show up for the people you care about, trust grows. When you take small steps toward your goals daily, confidence builds. When you act, momentum fuels more action. The opposite is true, too. If you wait for others to make the first move, if you hesitate in fear, relationships wither and your dreams stall. Consider Theodore Roosevelt again. His relentless energy inspired men to follow him, not because of speeches alone, but because his momentum created a current too strong to resist. Momentum is your silent partner. It doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't wait for motivation. It just carries you forward once you commit. Think about your life right now. Are you building momentum? Or are you stuck waiting for a spark? A truly mature man understands that life is uncertain and that doubt and fear will visit often. Spiritual maturity is the ability to stand in that uncertainty and act anyway. It's the difference between a boy hiding behind excuses and a man stepping forward with resolve. You won't always have clarity. You won't always feel certain. But the mature man moves through the fog. This maturity is not arrogance or stubbornness. It's humility paired with fierce commitment. It's saying, I don't have all the answers, but I will do my part. The Buddha said, the trouble is you think you have time. A mature man doesn't wait for time. He uses the time he has. This kind of maturity comes from wrestling with your own shadows, from standing up after every fall, from looking fear in the eye and still taking the step forward. So, ask yourself, are you ready to be a man who acts in spite of doubt? Now listen closely, because this is the core of everything we've talked about. Words are cheap. They're easy. Anyone can talk about change, courage, or strength. But few men back their words with action. A man who speaks less and does more commands a unique kind of respect. His silence is not weakness. It's power. It's the quiet before the storm. When you speak less, your actions shout louder. When you act without fanfare, you create a presence that no noise can match. Remember the old saying, actions speak louder than words. It's not a cliche, it's a law. So stop trying to convince the world you're ready by talking. Show it, prove it, live it. Be the man who lets results speak for themselves. In every choice, every moment, speak less, do more. This is the path to mastery. This is the way of true strength. Silence is not absence. It is power waiting to be unleashed.